I know many of you have this question, right? About tithing. What is it? But before we answer the question, let me ask you this question. Should we give money for a tithe today? Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Pushing the Standard, where we help you push the standard. You dig?
And we have a few points today. Please get your Bibles, guys. Your scriptures. We got plenty of scripture, okay? And as he stated, we are talking about tithing. And this is Deuteronomy 14, part 2. That's the main event. If you watched the video from last week, you know that we did Deuteronomy 14, part 1. Which addressed the two topics. It addressed improper mourning and also what's clean and unclean as far as the dietary laws that Yahuah has given us to keep throughout all generations.
All right, so what's the question? What is tithing?
What is tithing? All right, tithes. Tithes in Hebrew is a word, ma'eser, which comes from the root word eser, which is the number 10, which means the 10th part. Okay? Okay, now that we know what tithe, well, I didn't quite say what tithe is. Okay, so tithes, according to scripture, was a commandment given to Israel,
right?
The people, to give annually and every third year from their animals, their land, fruit, grain, seed, wine, and oil. Yes. It was never money, guys. Although they had money. I know we live in a society that say, well, the animals was like their money. No. They had gold. They had shekels. They had money. Yeah,
we'll get more into that as we further go on. So check out the rest of it.
So that's what tithes is. Okay. So our second point, who were tithes for? Or what was tithes for?
It was for the Levites and also for Yahuah.
Okay. So the tithes were for, one, the children of Israel were commanded to bring of what they decided to bring. It was never of necessity, one, but what they desired to bring of all the increase that they received in that year or of that third year, depending on which time frame of tithing.
Not the second year, not the fifth year.
So they would take of what they wanted to offer. Some even had houses, land, and they would bring it before the priest, the Levitical priest at the time.
Meaning after Aaron's bloodline. So everything after Aaron's bloodline, like his seed, not necessarily Hannah like his sister, although she was a Levite, but after Aaron's loins. Okay, go ahead.
So they would bring it to the Levitical priest, and then the priest would then take all that was brought to him, and he would give a 10th part of what he received from the children of Israel and present it before Yahuah. And then Yahuah allowed them to keep the remaining of that because they had no inheritance as the other tribes did.
And that's also according to the promise that Yahuah has said about Levi. Okay.
Now, there was the 10th part that he consecrated or, gave before Yahuah. You had a portion that would go to the widows, the fatherless, strangers, the poor in the land. And then not only that, but the Levitical priest would also take of that excess and they would consecrate, or of that 10, and consecrate it for Aaron. So it would go to Aaron and his lineage, basically. Okay? All right. So in the kingdom, how does this apply? So in the kingdom of righteousness, because again, this is not really a topic that's really taught from its proper perspective in modern churches. So that's why I'm addressing it. Right. In modern churches. So in the kingdom of righteousness, which, the Bible is about a kingdom. The scriptures are about a kingdom. The laws, the precepts, the judgments, the statutes, the commandments is all revolving around this kingdom and how it functions here in the earth. Okay?
And it's not a democracy, it's a dictatorship.
Okay? Now, here's the thing. In the kingdom of righteousness, there is a principle or this thing considered commonwealth. Now, commonwealth is as if no one truly owns their whatever it is that they have,
their property and assets,
but they seek after everyone's good, that everyone would survive and have what they need to live. It was not,
So pause here. So to add to what she's saying. So picture this, you all. Picture a king that's flourishing. What would that look like? That means the what you consider peasants, because it's a hierarchy, right? You got you got the kings, you got your nobles, you got your army, you got your generals, and all this other stuff. Then you got your peasants, right? That means they would be at a space where they wasn't wanting if the kingdom was thriving. Now, there's a part in certain kingdoms called the slums, and if the slums was taking over the actual kingdom, that means the kingdom is failing. Does that make sense? This is the ideology or understanding of commonwealth, because it'll come from the head down. Does that make sense?
So for a nation or kingdom or country to be flourishing, it was a great reflection of the king. And as we know, our king owns everything in heaven and earth. So surely his people should be thriving and not in lack. Another definition for the word commonwealth meant a self-governing country or community where everyone took care of one another.
Right.
So they didn't have to go to another people or nation for anything that they needed.
Right.
They built their own systems within itself to support in itself, basically.
All right, pause once again. So think of the ecosystem, right? We all talk about having our own ecosystem, but you got to think about the Torah. The Torah is based on this same understanding. He said, treat your neighbor with kindness. Don't let nobody go into debt too long. Replenish their debt. If the neighbor is wanting, you got it, lend to him. Like he said, leave fruit for the homeless. You know what I'm saying? Leave fruit out there so they can have something to eat. Even if it was on Shabbat, they would have something to eat. Why? Because it was out there for them to get, not hoard everything. He said share everything. So when you have an abundance of stuff and you're giving freely, that means your neighbor next door, if they don't got sugar and they ask for some sugar, you go give them some sugar. You know, it's like it's simple as that. But we're taught in modern day society, especially in the social gospel era, not to follow Torah to this extent. It's only for the Khazars who had converted into the faith. Not all of them is truly walking in it too, because a lot of them still doing some Kabbalah stuff too. But we say it's for them. It's for them. But then when Yahuwah's people start to wake up and you tell them to go back and do it, they're like, oh, it's because they got used to being comfortable in lawlessness and not according to the Torah.
Now, in scripture, a great reference to commonwealth was in Acts 4:32. Now, Acts 4:32 says, now the multitude of those who believed were of one heart and one soul. Neither did anyone say that any of the things he possessed was his own, but they had all things in common. Okay? I guess, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm going to read down a little further because it actually explained what they did. It says, and with great power the apostles gave witness to the resurrection of Yahushua the Messiah, and great grace was upon them all. It says, nor was there anyone among them who lacked, for all who were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the proceeds of the things that were sold, and laid them at the apostles' feet. And they distributed to each as anyone had need. Okay? So no one lacked. And that's how it should be in the kingdom of righteousness. And we'll touch on some things that were stated by Yahushua himself later in this video. Okay? All right. So this 2 is also why Ananias and Sapphira died. Okay? Because they broke a principle of the law, which, let's see the verse I have. So Leviticus 27. Let's go to where it originated. Because, a lot of church folks lie. A lot of people, believers lie. I never understood why they, why did they die like that on the spot? Okay? So Leviticus 27, you can read the full chapter because it does discuss the principles of depending on what you want to give. Again, it was never out of necessity, but of what they desired to give, of the possessions and increase that they did receive.
Meaning you shouldn't feel bad when you can't give. And you shouldn't feel bad when you don't want to give. Yeah. But because of how it's pushed, you're going to be cursed, you're going to be cursed, you're going to be cursed, you're going to be cursed. Mm-hmm. So they create this fear factor without saying, or without actually, doing like the hocus pocus, gloom and doom thing. But they say you're going to be cursed. So, but that in itself, because nobody want to be cursed by Yahuwah. Mm-hmm. Nobody want that, right? But a lot of people push it, and they push it.
So you can,
and they make it a necessity. But then your lights are out, and then you're praying, and then you're begging, and then you're borrowing, but you're not stewarding correctly. But it's also because of the lack of understanding this.
The lack of knowledge, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to read Leviticus 27, verse 14 through 21. Okay, now. Remember the story of Ananias and Sapphira. They sold their home or their land, and in exchange, they brought part of the proceeds and, stated like, hey, we sold our, home. We wanted to give our proceeds. This is what we wanted to give. Mm-hmm. However, here's where it goes. Okay, so Leviticus 27:14 states, I'm trying to make sure I'm reading at the right place. Okay. It says, and when a man dedicates his house to be holy to Yahuwah, then the priest shall set a value for it, whether it is good or bad. As the priest values it, so it shall stand. It says, if he who dedicated it wants to redeem his house, then he must add 1/5 of the money of your valuation to it, and it shall be his. It goes on to say, if a man dedicates to Yahuwah part of a field of his possession, then your valuation shall be according to the seed for it. A hummer of barley seed shall be valued at 50 shekels of silver. If he dedicates his field from the year of Jubilee, according to your valuation, it shall stand. But if he dedicates his field after the Jubilee, then the priest shall reckon to him the money due according to the years that remain to the year of Jubilee, and it shall be deducted from your valuation. And if he who dedicates the fields ever wish to redeem it, then he must add 1/5 of the money of your valuation to it, and it shall belong to him. But if he does not want to redeem the field, or if he has not sold the field to another man, it shall not be redeemed anymore. But the field which is when it is released in the Jubilee shall be holy to Yahuwah as a devoted field. It shall be the possession of the priest. Now, so this is the issue, because they once sold it and pretended as if they wanted to give. Remember, it said if you desire to give it, then do it wholeheartedly. It will be considered holy, and whatever the valuation of it, all of the proceeds should go to the priest. Now they held back a portion of the proceeds, which is a no-no. It's either you want to give it or you don't want to give it, because they were never forced. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because he said if you don't want to redeem the field or the land, you don't have to. It's okay. He never condemned them. But because they stated they wanted to, and they pretended like, yes, we sold our house so we can give, and they held back the proceeds, they lied to the Holy Spirit that was operating, of course, through the priest at the time.
And they dropped. So although the apostles in them wasn't considered considered a priest.
Yeah.
But it's because of what they was doing. Y'all have to understand, the apostles kept.
Real quick, we got something for you.
You found it very valuable, didn't it? I did too. But check it out. There's a free PDF in the description box below of our mini chapter of our book, Faith and Hardship. Check it out for your marriage, so your marriage can thrive and so you can continue to beat divorce and separation.
All right, back to the video.
Back to the video.
Yes.
A lot of people Americanize the apostles. like they didn't follow Yahushua through this whole process, or follow Yahuwah through this whole process by keeping his laws, his precepts, his commandments, and his judgments. So when the folks dropped, it's because they went against Torah. They went against the Ruach HaKodesh. They went against Yahuwah himself, and the folks dropped.
Yep, right on the spot, y'all. Okay, so let's see. That was Leviticus. Hold on, let me go back up. I think I scrolled down too far on my notes. Let's see. Okay. All right. And then I wanted to read Leviticus 28. Wait, that's not accurate. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Maybe it was verse 28. Okay. Sorry. It's verse 28 through 34. Let's see what it says.
Leviticus 27, verse 28 to 34.
Let me fix that on there too. 27. Okay. All right, let's see what 28 through 34 says. Okay, it says, nevertheless, no devoted offering that a man may devote to Yahuwah of all that he has, both man and beast, man and beast, or the field of his possession, shall be sold or redeemed. Every devoted offering is most holy to Yahuwah. No person under the ban who may become doomed to destruction among men shall be redeemed, but shall surely be put to death. And all the tithe of the land, whether of seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is Yahuwah's. It is holy to Yahuwah. If a man wants at all to redeem any of his tithes, he shall add 1/5 to it. And concerning the tithe of the herd or the flock of whatever passes under the rod, the 10th one shall be holy unto Yahuwah. Which goes back to what I was saying. After the children of Israel will give their part, then the priest would, see which the 10th one that will come through of animal, 10th, whatever. That will be the 10th that's consecrated unto Yahuwah. Okay? It says, and concerning the tithe of the herd, I read that part, sorry. He shall not inquire whether it is good or bad, nor shall he exchange it. And if he exchanges it all, then both it and the one exchanged for shall be holy. It shall not be redeemed. It says, these are the commandments which Yahuwah commanded Moses for the children of Israel on Mount Sinai. Okay. All right. So take note that you have a choice to give. Okay. Of portion, as I stated again, seed, fruit, land, houses, animals, oil, wine. And they never had to give of necessity or grudgingly, which is what Yahushua also stated in, let's see, what verse was that? 2 Corinthians 9:7. I'm going to read that. 2 Corinthians 9:7. Okay, he says, so let each one gives as he purposes in his heart, not grudgingly or of necessity. For Yahuwah loves a cheerful giver. And Yahuwah is able to make all grace abound towards you, that you always, having all sufficiency in all things, may have an abundance for every good work. Okay, so they were never forced to give anything. Okay? It was always that they give with a cheerful heart of what they decided, okay? Okay, but as we stated before, in today's modernized churches, tithing has been preached as a necessity to give, and not of the things that the Most High requested. It's been taught to give money, and not only once a month, but not annually, but they need
twice a month.
Every time you show up, they want another 10.
Oh yeah, so that means that's 6 times 6.
Depending on how long the month.
That's about 8 times. Yeah, 4 on Sunday, 4 on Wednesday.
4 on Sunday. Depending on how many times they go around, you saying?
No. I'm thinking about like days, not counting how many times they do service. So if you're doing service 3 times on the Sunday, that's what, 12 times? That's 12 times within 12 times within what, 2 days, 3 days?
Oh no, it's a lot.
4 days, that's 9. Is it 3, 3, 3? That's 9, 9. That's 6. That's 9. Yeah, that's 12. That's 12 times. Instead of just one time per service, that's 12 times. If you're doing 3 services per day, so you're getting more than a tenth.
Yeah. So not only is that done wrong in the churches, but also the aspect that what they say the tithe is for is to support their buildings and to pay the rent of the building and to keep their building up. It was never to make sure that people have what they need.
To sustain the poor, or even the acting pastor.
The acting pastor?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
The ones that's actually pastoring the people, like they don't benefit a whole lot from it all the time outside of the building being paid, because a lot of them have jobs.
Oh, okay. But
the ones who choose to act as a priest, as a pastor, you got to make sure you're right with Yahuah in that regard.
Yeah, that's even that. Okay, so let's talk about that. So, in the event, in event. Okay, so we mentioned based off scripture that it was given to the Levite, right?
The line of Aaron, yeah.
Right. So as you have pastors and people teachers that make fun and say, "Oh, you're trying to be Israel as the people," right?
Uh-huh.
Yet they try to take the position of a Levi, a priest, to receive what they want to make a tithe, which is they call it money, right? So shouldn't they be condemned?
That's interesting. I don't know. That's up to Yahuah to say.
Yeah.
Because that means, like, or if you consider if they're not Levi and they acting as Levi, then that means they're lying to the people.
Right.
So
well, that's what I mean. I'm
saying if you're looking for the vantage points of Yahuah, I mean, it's totally up to him. If he let them continue or not, that's tough. That's a really interesting question. I don't know, because they not acting, they not dropping, they're not receiving that immediate judgment at the moment. But just look at their life. Are they suffering in other areas? Like, is it health? Is it finances at their house? Some people are rich, like Joel Osteen, right? The man rich, and they've been tithing, and I don't know what he's suffering on Bacon because it's not showed, but his lights is on and everything else. And he's a mega church, although he lies and stuff too. Or he tried to play neutral on certain stances and be very political. I don't know. Like, I think because they're teaching the people, when Yahuah come and judge them, it's going to be a harsher judgment towards them. That's if I can answer it safely,
Gotcha.
It would be like that.
Especially once you've heard the truth. Well, no, because he said they getting judged even whether if they know the truth or not. Yeah.
So just think about when did this tithe for money start? It started in 320 AD, right? The Roman Catholic Church, when they start to conquer a lot of the land and start to merge state and govern together. When they start to do that, they was like, well, since the king, since we're the acting government, yes, tax the people too. They come in, and then that's where you get this whole money front from. Because at first it wasn't like that. Let's talk about Paul, or in Acts, and they were saying, go turn your food, go sell your food and stuff, go sell your animals and stuff, and get the shekels because the journey is too far.
That's actually in the Old Testament.
No, that's New Testament too. Isn't it?
I haven't seen it.
It's in Acts.
Really?
He said, yeah, because your journey is too far. He said, then you go to the actual land
place and exchange,
and then exchange it, and then get the food and proceeds to give to the poor, because he wanted to give to the church that way.
Gotcha.
If that's the case, they could just gave him the money. He gave them the money. Y'all go get your own food. But it was a switch.
Yeah.
Right. Even Paul did the same thing. Paul said it too. But Paul was a Pharisee. So in Roman Catholicism, that's where you get the whole tithe 10% cat coins from. Y'all go research this stuff out about when it started. Like, because you have to understand they tried to separate everything in the Caesar's Creed. Remember, if you watch my video, when I was talking about the timelines and stuff, check out that video. I'll have a description box for that, or not a description box, a little card talking about that. And in this process, oh yeah, my same root video, like our we of the same root video. I kind of talk about the Caesar's Creeds and there, but they went and changed some of the statutes, some of the tools, or some of the commandments. They started to try to divide it. So when they start, instead of, they say don't do anything that the Hebrews do. It's divided. Don't follow their feasts. Don't do their Sabbaths. Don't keep their Torah. Right. That means following how y'all do things with tithe. That's also what's in that description box. Does that make sense, y'all? So when you go in peep it, and then started doing it separate, as they call it, Catholicism or Christianity. Again, this is a made up delusion from the Knight Templars and the Messianic demonic force, right? So if you're doing those things, and he said tithe on the 10th, this building's elaborate. So go check out 321 AD, go check out 325, and look at their churches. Look how elaborate, how big, and how beautiful their churches are. It was so elaborate and beautiful that it was like, oh, these folks got all these coins, all this money, and everybody wanted to be a part, because again, if you rub elbows with the Pope at the time, you know what I'm saying, you can be a bishop, you can be a deacon, you can be apostle now, because you understand these are military titles, these are kingdom titles. Does that make sense, y'all?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna read Numbers chapter 18, 21 through 29, I believe it was. Let's see. Actually through 32. Okay, so this talk about the tithes, what it was for, more in kind of, I had already explained it, but I'll read it as well. Okay. It says, "Behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance in return for the work which they perform, the work of the tabernacle of meeting." It says, "Hereafter the children of Israel shall not come near the tabernacle of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall perform the work of the tabernacle of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance." It says, "For the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer up as a heave offering," which is just a gift, "to Yahuah, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. Therefore I have said to them, among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance." It says, "Then Yahuah spoke to Moses, saying, Speak this to the Levites, and say to them, When you take from the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them as your inheritance, then you shall offer up a heave offering of it to Yahuah, a tenth of the tithe." All right. It says, "And your heave offering shall be reckoned to you as though it were grain of the threshing floor, and as the fullness of the winepress." So that's how Yahuah saw the tithe offering from the Levite. After they got the 10th part of what the children of Israel gave, he said he receives it as if it was a grain offering and a wine offering from the winepress, since they had no vineyards, they had no fields of their own. Okay, it says, "Thus you shall also offer a heave offering to Yahuah from all your tithes which you receive from the children of Israel, and you shall give to Yahuah heave offering from it to Aaron the priest." Okay, so that's the other portion that they must give out of all that they receive. It says, "Of all your gifts you shall offer up every heave offering due to Yahuah from all the best of them, the consecrated part of them." It says, "Therefore you shall say to them, when you have lifted up the best of it, then the rest shall be accounted to the Levites as the produce of the threshing floor and as the produce of the winepress. You may eat it in any place, you and your households, for it is your reward for your work in the tabernacle of meeting. And you shall bear no sin because of it, when you have lifted up the best of it. But you shall not profane the holy gifts of the children of Israel, lest you die." Okay? So that was their blessing that they received annually. Okay? let's see. Okay, so the next point was, how often was tithing and offering given? So as we stated, it was not only an annual thing, but every third year as well. Okay, not monthly, not weekly, not
daily.
Yeah, not that. Okay. Also, the third year was called the year of tithing. I found that out in Deuteronomy 26:12. So let's go there. Deuteronomy 26. Wait, let's see. Okay. He says, when you have finished laying aside all the tithe of your increase in the third year, the year of tithing, and have given it to the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, so that they may eat within your gates and be filled, then you shall say before Yahuwah your Elohim, I have removed the holy tithe from my house, and also have given them to the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, according to all your commandments which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commandments, nor have I forgotten them. I have not eaten any of it when in mourning, nor have I removed any of it for an unclean use, nor. I know you're probably enjoying the content, but real quick, this is something you should know. The enemy wants this to stay in your family. Cycles, fear, poverty, lack, struggle, sicknesses, diseases, miscarriages, broken marriages. But it's something that you didn't know. The curse that you probably never could pinpoint is in this book right here. Giving any of it for the dead. I have obeyed the voice of Yahuwah my Elohim, and have done according to all that you have commanded me. He says, look down from your holy habitations from heaven, and bless your people Israel and the land which you have given us, just as you swore to our fathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. Okay. We also have Deuteronomy chapter 12, 5 through 8. Okay, it says, but you shall seek the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses out of all your tribes to put his name for his dwelling place, and there you shall go. There you shall take your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your heave offerings of your hand, your vowed offerings, your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. And there you shall eat before Yahuwah your Elohim, and you shall rejoice in all to which you have put your hand, you and your household, in which Yahuwah your Elohim has blessed you. You shall not at all do as we are doing here today, every man doing whatever is right in his own eyes. Okay, so we're right here. We'll explain, even with us, our first year of keeping the first fruit.
Oh, well, before she gets there, so with my it was earlier that my always said when I was talking about that whole thing about the shekels and crops and stuff. That was Old Testament, but they also did a symbolic thing in the New Testament. So I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Okay, so with us this year for the Feast of First Fruit, it was the same. We had to seek Yahuwah. Where do you want us to go? If you want us to go anywhere, to give our first fruit, right? And for us, Yahuwah just told us which items to get. So it was lamb, grain.
It was lamb. It was
oil,
a grain. It was wine. It was oil, unleavened bread mixed with oil. And no water added. And he said, you're doing this unto me. That's what he told me. And he said, so when you go and you find that person that I have designated this food to go to, it's gonna be unto me.
Yeah, so that's what he told us, right? So he literally just told us to find one homeless person, whichever we choose, and to give that food that we just cooked. We gave it to them, and then Yahuwah just said we go home and celebrate and eat good, eat of that, So I don't know what it is he may tell you, so that's why it's you have to have an active relationship with Yahuwah.
Because
following him.
Because I prayed and I told him that I want to do his feast correctly. Now I also know there's I don't know who's a real Levite or not. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's doing their blood DNA test. Nobody's going to see their haplogroup. Nobody's going. Not no, I'm saying not nobody. Not everyone that's preaching out there is doing this thing. Now I have seen a few cats that when they did their stuff, they saw their lineage, their line, but not everybody is doing that. Especially if you're Igbo tribe, then you are the tribe of Levite, but then you don't know if you're a line of Aaron. You see how far you have to go back to actually move properly, and no, you don't have to go and go and get blessed by the Khazars because they don't know who they. They know who they are, but they know they're not from the tribe of Levi. You know what I'm saying? So, unless they was born from Levi's sister, because that's something that Herod did later on, then yes, that makes sense. You are a tribe of Levi, but are you from the loins of Aaron? You can't make yourself the loins of Aaron. Only your seed would be that. You know what I'm saying? So you see how it can get real muddy and messy in that process. And unless Yahuah tells you verbatim you are from Aaron line, go and do X, Y, and Z. I believe. Now this is my thought. This is not Yah. I believe a lot of people who have that call to be pastors and preach, they may have that trait in their DNA, because it's a call for that. Like I don't have that yearning to pastor people and to hurt them and do all those things that I'm saying that they do. I don't have that. Like I tell you the word of Yahuah and keep it pushing. But there's so I'm saying that to say check your DNA if you really want to know. If you really want to, and you gotta go further than the Igbo tribe. You got to go further to see which part of which because Levi was broken up in all 12 tribes. They didn't just travel like just a tribe of Levi, just travel by themselves. That's not how they went. Why? Because the tribe of Levi was protected by the other brothers. They did all the warring, they did all the fighting. They told Levi, you just focus on doing the will of Yah and preaching and doing everything he told you to do with the commands. You focus on that. We'll do what he said to you do and provide all the necessity things, and we'll protect you. Although Levi had them hands. Don't get me wrong. He had them hands. But his lineage, I can't say all his lineage had them hands like that. It's from his loins, from Aaron's loins. You got to remember when Moses was obedient, he was also for the tribe of Levi too. He was also from the tribe of Levi. So when Moses was obedient, you know what I'm saying, and he said everything he said toward Aaron and his seed and the seed after that, it's supposed to be from generation to generation to generation. You feel me? So you gotta keep that in mind when y'all out here accepting y'all call to preach, because y'all could just be just accepting the call to just spread the kingdom.
Yes, then preach anyway.
It's not the preach how they preach then. They read Torah and explained it to the people. So that's a form of preaching. Which means
you got to know Torah to preach.
Yeah, so you have a form of preaching. So like even when Yahusha, when they asked him to read, he read out he read out Isaiah that time, and he sat down. He just basically just told the people that the Mashiach is here now.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so now we got Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22, which is the main event. You know, as I stated last week, we did Deuteronomy 14, and we did the first two topics that are within here. So tithing is the third topic within Deuteronomy 14. Okay. Should I pause it? Okay. Yeah, so Deuteronomy 14, chapter 14, verse 22. It says, you shall truly tithe all the increase of your grain that the field produces year by year. And you shall eat before Yahuah your Elohim in the place where he chooses to make his name abide. The tithe of your grain and your new wine and your oil of the firstborn of your herds and your flocks, that you may learn to fear Yahuah your Elohim always. Check it out. Oh, here you go. This is what you was talking about. But if the journey is too long for you so that you are not able to carry the tithe, or if the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to put his name is too far from you, when Yahuwah your Elohim has blessed you, then you shall exchange it for money. Take the money in your hand and go to the place which Yahuwah your Elohim chooses. And you shall spend that money for whatever your heart desires, semicolon, for oxen or sheep, for wine or similar drink. For whatever your heart desires, you shall eat there before Yahuwah your Elohim. And you shall rejoice, you and your household. What verse I said too? Oh, so yeah, I'm finished. Okay, there we go. You shall not forsake the Levite who is within your gates, for he has no part nor inheritance with you. At the end of every 3rd year, you shall bring out the tithe of your produce of that year and store it up within your gates. It says, and the Levites, because he has no portion nor inheritance with you, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow who are within your gates may come and eat and be satisfied, that Yahuwah your Elohim may bless you in all the work of your hand which you do.
And that's an example of commonwealth as well.
Okay.
Now, but you also see them. You also see them in the New Testament walk that thing out. They won't say it verbatim. That's what they did. But I want to say is when Paul was on the voyage and he said, "Give." He said, "Whatever you give, I'm gonna take it to the homeless." Not, I believe that was a symbolic thing of that, because he was gaining all this stuff, and then he'd go back to Jerusalem and he'd give it to the people.
Okay. So you want to? Are you familiar with Hezekiah and him, how he got hands on the Torah and turned the people back, or not?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, if you can explain that before I read this thing, that'd be great.
Now this is not this. So very quickly, a quick backdrop. So Hezekiah was the son of Ahaz. Now Ahaz had betrayed Yahuwah by going towards idol worship, by doing the things of the land of everybody else. So when Hezekiah ended up, when his turn to reign came forth, he was cleaning it up. He was going in. He was taking down the pollution. He was telling folks turn from idolatry, turn from the land, the ways of our neighboring countries, and let's go back to Torah.
Yeah. All right. So right here in 2 Chronicles chapter 31, which would be good to read. I was actually going to read. Let's see what verses. Let's see, what do I have on here? 2 Chronicles. Oh wow, I didn't put no specific verse. Well, I'll just say that Hezekiah, it talked about the people as he was turning the people back to Torah, and from the ways that had got polluted and all of that stuff. And it talked about how when they gave the first fruit and they did all those things, they gave the tithe of the things in the way which Torah explained, the way that Yahuwah had told them to give. It talked about how there was so much left over. Like, it was so much left over that they said, okay, we got to build a storehouse, because it's like we truly have been blessed in abundance, right? So that was dope. And it also stated that Hezekiah, it said he did it throughout all Judah, and he did what was good and right and true before Yahuwah his Elohim. It says, and in every work that he began in the service of the house of Yahuwah, in the law and in the commandment to seek Yahuwah, he did it with all his heart, so he prospered. Okay, so that's a good read. Okay, so Nehemiah 10:37.
All right.
Let me find that. If you have anything to say while I look for this.
And a quick backdrop of Nehemiah. Nehemiah had a burden to go and build Yasharel back up. He had a burden to go fix his land. And so there's a whole process that he went through. He had to ask permission from the king. King had to say yeah, because he worked for Cyprus at the time. But Cyprus had to be okay with fulfilling the prophecy that went forth that was going to happen to the children of Yasharel after Babylon. So it was prophesied that Cyprus was going to free them folks, and Cyprus did. So after Nehemiah did his thing, he ended up freeing Yasharel from the clutches of Cyprus group, right? And he said they ended up finding Torah, they ended up finding lamps, they ended up doing all these things. They had to fight and build. They had swords and had swords in one hand and they was building with the other one. He had to stand his ground when people, the neighboring countries, was trying to press him. Trying to come over there and be like, you know what I'm saying? What y'all doing? Why y'all doing that? And he had to like stand his ground the whole time. But then after they got the gates and stuff, you know what I'm saying, fixed. He said, all right, y'all, I know we've been living like Babylonians and as the people of Cyprus was, I forget what they was called. What was it called? Philistines. I think they was Philistine. They were not Philistine. But anyways, I can't remember what people group to Cyprus was. And it was like we have to go back to Torah, and then they rededicated themselves back to Torah. And when they did that, you know what I'm saying, they wailed and they cried out and they was happy and they was full of joy. A lot of them divorced their Canaanite women. It was
that was serious.
It was a whole thing that they did.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to read Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 35 to 38. It says, and we made ordinances to bring the first fruit of our ground and the first fruit of all trees year by year to the house of Yahuah, to bring the firstborn of our son and our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and our flocks to the house of Yahuah, to the priests who minister in the house of our Elohim, to bring the first fruit of our dough, our offering, the fruit from all kind of trees, the new wine and oil to the priests, to the storerooms of the house of our Elohim, and to bring the tithes of our land to the Levites. For the Levites should receive the tithe in all our farming communities. It says, and the priests, the descendants of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites receive tithes. And the Levites shall bring up a tenth of the tithes to the house of our Elohim, to the rooms of the storehouse. Okay, it says, for the children, 39, I might as well read that. It says, for the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring the offering of the grain, of the new wine, the oil, to the storerooms, where the articles of the sanctuary are, where the priests who minister, and the gatekeepers and the singers are, and we will not neglect the house of our Elohim. Which reminds us of what? Malachi 3, right? Malachi 3.
We don't touch it. We can't touch it.
You know, now this one is used a lot in modern churches, so you can give up your money. They, as you said, as my husband stated, they use a fear tactic and say, this is why you're cursed. Yet they are cursed too. If you're not keeping,
the commands, the Torah,
you're not keeping it.
Right standings, statutes,
okay,
of Yahuwah. So
you always hear, "Will a man wrong God?" They preach it hard too. Yeah, you have robbed me. They take it personal because they really talking about you robbing me. I'm gonna go get them new shoes. I like the new outfit.
And some of the Baptists be like that for sure.
Yeah,
because they want Cadillacs. They want a new house on the block, on the hill. You hear me?
So now, Nehemiah 10. So don't this sound familiar? Okay, he says, "Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me." He says, but you say, in what way have we robbed you? And what he say? In tithes and offerings. And, interesting. It gave something to read for Nehemiah chapter 13, 10 through 12. I don't know what it say. I'm going to have to go back and read it myself. Okay. Show just came from Nehemiah, so kind of interested on what they say. Let's see, Nehemiah 13. What did he say?
Chapter 10 through 12, you said?
No, chapter 13, verse 10 through 12. Let's see, 13. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it reads, I also learned that the temple of musicians and other Levites had left Jerusalem and gone back to their farms. Wait, you said 10 to 13?
Yeah, that's not what this one say. It says, I also realized that the portions for the Levites had not been given to them. Yeah.
That's
For
interesting.
each of the Levites and the singers who did the work had gone back to his field.
Right, so it says the people, because the people had not been given them enough to live on. That's how this expression.
This is good, actually. And then it says,
Let me finish. I reprimand the officials for letting the temple be neglected. And I brought the Levites and musicians back to the temple and put them to work again. Then all the people of Yasharel again started bringing to the temple storerooms their tithes of grain, wine, and of olive oil. I put the following men in charge of the storerooms: Salima, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Shelemiah, a priest; Zadok, a scholar of the law; and Penaniah, a Levite; Hananiah, the son of Zachar, the grandson of Madan. How you say that? Madaniah
interesting.
was to be their assistant. I knew I could trust these men to be honest in distributing the supplies to the other workers. Keep reading.
Yeah, keep reading. We're gonna keep reading, y'all. This is some good stuff.
This was an insert.
Good.
Remember my Elohim, all these things that I have done for your temple and its worship. I'm finna change translations real quick.
You want me to pick up or you want to read it? Okay.
All right, so now I'm in the Hallelujah scriptures. Hold on 1 second. And we're going to see what's going on with that. And we're what, 13? What was that?
No, 14.
14. Okay. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this, and do not wipe out.
Real quick, we got something for you.
You found it very valuable, didn't it? I did too. But check it out. There's a free PDF in the description box below of our mini chapter of our book, Faith and Hardship. Check it out for your marriage, so your marriage can thrive and so you can continue to beat divorce and separation.
All right, back to the video.
Back to the video. My loving commitments that I have done for the house of my Elohim and for his charges. In those days, I saw in Yehuda those treading wine presses on the Sabbath and bringing in sheaves and loaves and loading donkeys with wine, grapes, and figs and all kinds of burdens, which they brought into Yasharel on the Sabbath day. So I warned them on that day. They sold food, and men of Sora dwelt there, bringing in fish and all kinds of goods, and sold them on the Sabbath to the children of Yehuda and in Yasharel. Then I contended with the nobles of Yehuda and said to them, What evil matter is this that you are doing, profaning the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do the same, so that our Elohim brought all this evil on us, on the city? Yet you bring added wrath of Yasharel by profaning the Sabbath. And it came to be, when the gates of Yasharel were shaded before the Sabbath, that I commanded the doors to be shut, and commanded that they should not be open till after the Sabbath. And I stationed some of my servants at the gates, so that no burdens would be brought in on the Sabbath day. Keep going.
Yes, to 22.
All right. And the merchants and the sellers of all kinds of wares spent the night outside Yasharel once or twice. And I warned them.
Check this out. Y'all be on hard on us, prophets and stuff. When we be coming strong. Check out what Nehemiah said, though. Check out what Prophet Nehemiah said.
And I warned them and said to them, Why do you spend the night around the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you.
What he say? I'll put my hands on y'all. Y'all sleep at these gates one more time. Trying to get our people to fall on Shabbat. I'm going to put them hands on y'all.
for that time on, from that time on, they came no more on the Sabbath. And I commanded the Levites, or Levites, that they should cleanse themselves, and they should come guarding the gates to set apart the Sabbath day, or have my wife say sanctify. Remember me, O my Yahuah, O my Elohim, concerning this also, and pardon me according to the greatness of your loving commitment.
Now, this is good. This is real good. So I'm glad I saw that answer. I thought that was really good. So yeah, he ain't say nothing about your money, y'all. Okay, so let's go back. He says, you are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me. This is Yahuah speaking. He says, even this whole nation. He said, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house.
Food.
And try me now in this, he says. It says Yahuah of hosts, or Adon of hosts.
Yeah.
If I would not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such a blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it. What else he said? And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, so that he will not destroy the fruit of your ground. The fruit of your ground. You see, he didn't say your money.
He said the fruit of your pocket.
Nor shall the vine fail to bear fruit for you in the field, says Yahuah of hosts, or Adon of hosts. And all nations will call you blessed, for you will be a delightful land, says Yahuah of hosts, or Adon of hosts. Now, if we be honest, those who preach and believe, and you have been indoctrinated, that if I give my tithes, my money, if I give my money, that he will open up a window of heaven and will pour out this blessing, right? He said you won't have room to receive it. See, the stuff that we've been getting, or we were getting, we could receive it. We still had room.
We still had room.
It wasn't no overflowing nothing.
Yeah, we still had room.
Okay? The devourer was not rebuked.
We was fighting all the time.
and let's be real. A lot of us don't own land.
Still.
To say that, the fruit of our ground, it's just abundance, our wine press.
Yeah, so they try to this is how they try to put it to make it applicable, that you overflow with more money. But if that's the case, then a lot of people are supposed to be super rich right now.
Yeah.
Like a crazy overflow. We shouldn't like even the last church we was at, right?
Excuse me.
They had to give us. They had to give unto us. And I was giving all I can give.
There was times I'm gonna speak for myself. I believe we both, but giving everything we had in our account, y'all, because we believed this. We believed what we were taught. And we was like, y'all,
what's going on?
Have that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What's going on? Like my lights, I got rent due. What's going on?
And they tell you, just still give it and
have faith.
Him. Yeah,
believe in the faith. Bring your faith in it, and you're gonna be straight. But
y'all, we have ran across so many people who go to church. They give as the pastor tell them to give. They are homeless, staying in shelters, or staying with somebody else,
and they still giving.
And they still give and believing the lie. And it's a touchy subject, but let's be real.
Let's be honest about it.
We weren't walking in that. We weren't walking in what he was really talking about. Okay?
Because if we was, it would be different. Like, just say everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. All right, and then this application is applicable. That means from the child who gave, all the way up, from the homeless, from the elder, from all the way up to the leaders, they're supposed to be walking in a crazy amount of riches. Gold and silver is supposed to be in their pocket like never before. If that's the case, they won't have to constantly keep saying, "Give every Wednesday,
or we
Sunday."
Low on funds.
They won't have to. They won't have to constantly say that if that was truly applicable. Now, like I'm just saying, just look at it logically. Now, there's A solution I would give. I don't know if you already put the solution in there. Is in the points.
Solution.
Yeah. So the solution is if you are a pastor and you're trying to build your church, then you should say a donation. Bring a donation. Bring a gift that you want to give towards this particular this part of the establishment. That way you can receive what you need to receive, and you'll have more cheerful givers. Because people like to build. Y'all gotta understand that men like to build too, and like to be a part of that. Don't say tithe. Don't say offering.
And don't make it of necessity either.
Right. Don't get mad at them folks when
they don't want to donate. Yeah.
You feel me? Like, accept all of that comes with that process. And I believe you have a better turnout. Because people, I put my money, they won't mind putting money, but you also have to do exactly what you say you're finna do with that money. Don't sit there and be like, give over to the donation. Then you take that money and you do something else. You go build up a playground instead of building up that church like you're supposed to.
Or you go on vacation, right? Or whatever.
You're not being integral. People are not going to give after that. They'll listen to you, and then they'll forgive you that you lied to them, and they'll sit there and listen in the pew and get fed by them words that you speaking.
Yeah. So
I would say very strongly, just ask for a donation or a gift. Give me some of your paycheck over here in this area, and I'm gonna do exactly what I'm saying gonna do. And then if you do exactly what you say you're gonna do, now you build up integrity, so people will be more willing to give more in that aspect towards this building. Don't sit there and be like, you're gonna be cursed because now you're lying in the church, and that's just probably why you get hit when you get hit.
Yep. I like that. I like the aspect of no, I'm for real. I like the aspect of okay. I hear this teaching on tithe. I hear this that there is absolutely not one scripture that mentions tithe being money, right? I would respect the acknowledgement that okay, tithe is not money. Instead of saying, "Oh, you're just trying to keep people from giving." You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah. And I like the aspect. It's like, however, if you still want money, let's word it right. Let's not call it a thing of Yahuah. No. You know, just say, hey, we would like some donations. If you guys like being in this building, you know, there are some expenses, whatever, or whatever. If you buying a place or you leasing a place, being honest, like, hey, if you would like to give some donations to this, then, you know, do that. Here. Yeah. Right.
Don't call it a tithe offering.
Don't call it a tithe offering. Don't say that. God said that if you don't do this, you're going to be cursed. Yeah, don't do that.
Because now you're wrong. Now you're lying on Allahim.
Yes, you are wrong.
Now you're saying Yahuwah said something he didn't say. And then you don't know why you're missing or very low a month. You don't understand why stuff is going on in your household, because you do a lot of praying and laboring, and you're not listening a lot of times, or you pray too much and listen very little. Sometimes I go in, I don't after a prayer, after I say a prayer, or sometimes I don't even pray. I just go and listen, and after I get done listening, then I say my prayer and I go on by my business. So a lot of times we're talking too much, because he can the same Elohim that told you to go and start a ministry would tell you, all right, now don't follow the religious system. Don't follow what's going on in social gospel. Don't follow what they've been doing since slave gospel. Do not do that. Do this instead. Don't call it a tithe. Don't call it off. That means you're really listening at that point. Especially if you're reading that word, like you say you do.
And not just passing down doctrines that you got from theology school from these people who
was before you.
Yeah.
Or don't or from a minister that brought you up, and it's a tradition. Like, you understand, you're teaching a tradition at this point, and not biblical sound doctrine. Yes, that means that's an error, And I know how we, as people who move in deliverance and stuff, would say this is an error, like the spirit of error. That's part of the spirit of error.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And another good point on this, since we're here, is let's talk about the fear tactic of, them saying give money, despite, no matter if your bills is coming up, no matter if you about to on the verge of getting put out, you got eviction notice, your car broke down, whatever, and they say it don't matter what's going on in your life, you still sacrifice and give us that percentage of your money, right? This was something that Yahushua also rebuked some guys for in Matthew 15:5.
As you were saying in Matthew 5.
This is our little co-host, okay? Yes, so there was a rebuke that were given by Yahushua, right? In Matthew chapter 15, verse 5. I'm going to start at verse 3. And this was when they was like, hey, why your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? They don't wash their hands when they eat bread. And now Yahushua answered and said, why do you also transgress the commandment of Yahuah because of your tradition? Okay, so they were trying to put a tradition of men, the elders, that they put in place. It was never of Torah. It was never something commanded by Yahuah that you must wash your hand this way before you eat bread, right?
Now, pause. Meaning that it's a ritual that they did.
Yes.
Now they did it. It's almost like a 2-hour ritual to get your hands clean before you eat. That's how long it was.
Okay. So Yahushua said, why do you transgress the commandment of Yahuah for the sake of your tradition? Okay. He says, so Yahushua said, for Yahuah commanded, saying, honor your father and your mother, and he who curses father and mother, let him be put to death. What does that sound like? The Torah, the commandments, right? Honor your father and your mother. You must keep. Mm-hmm. Okay. He says, but you say, whoever says to his father or mother, whatever profit you might have received from me is a gift to Elohim. Now this correlates with modern day tithe. So you know your mama, you know your daddy, you know your sister, you know your friend is in need. I ain't talking about like, but they about to get put out, whatever, like, and they asked to borrow something or whatever. Even if they didn't ask to borrow, you know that they're in need. And you say, oh, I can't give it to you because it's my tithe. I got to pay my tithe. They got rebuked for that. Because he says, then he not need to honor. I'm going to read it again so I can make sure. Okay. He says, but you say whoever says to his father or mother, whatever profit you might have received from me is a gift to Elohim. He says, then he need not honor his father and mother. Thus you have made the commandment of Yahuah of no effect by your tradition. And what he called them, hypocrites. He says, well, did Isaiah prophesy about you, saying these people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me, but in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. So you teach doctrines of men or commandments of men, which is you must give your money every Sunday, Wednesday, every year, month, whatever, and you teach it as a doctrine, as if it's a commandment of Yah, and it's not. So he said, you a hypocrite. Because you know this person is in need, yet you say, it's a gift to Yahuah. I can't give that to you. Because I gotta give it to God. That's what they tell you, at least. You're giving it to God. All right. And I got a fun fact. Fun fact. Yahushua was also a first fruit offering. As you see in John, I believe it was chapter 20, verse 17. Right after he was risen from the grave. He told Mary, hey, don't touch me just yet. I have to go present myself before the Father, which we know in actually Exodus. I believe it's Exodus. Let me see that. Take note of that. Yes, Exodus 13, 1 through 2, where it talk about the offering or the consecration of the firstborn, whether it's of male or beast, animal. And as we know, he was the first son that opened the womb of Mary. Yes, so he also was the first fruit as well. And then they weren't able to touch him until after he presented himself to Yahuwah, and he came back down, he descended. And then he told Thomas, "Hey, now you can touch me. You could, it's me. I'm here." Okay, so I thought that was dope too. And these are our closing remarks. My husband has something he want to say.
So the question is, should you give money for a tithe? And short answer is, nope. No, you shouldn't. All right, y'all. Must be blessed by the best. Huh? That sounds like somebody I know. But very quickly, those who keep the commands and receive Yahushua as the son of the living Elohim, they will be great in the kingdom. Those who do a little bit of commands and teach others to do a little bit, you will be least in the kingdom. Those who believe only will not inherit the kingdom at all. Shalom, shalom.